Yo. Back again. Randy Nichols, man. Morning to y'all, man. Good morning. Don't worry, the sun gonna come up in a little bit. Y'all gonna see me, if y'all care to see me anyway. Yo, man, we back again, man. We back on the run, man. Day job time, man. Word, man. As always, man, like, share, subscribe, hit that notification for new content, man. Follow me on X, Instagram, Facebook, all that good stuff, man. Randy Nichols, man. But anyway, there's a war going on in the Middle East, you know, that I'm not really too sure why these countries are beefing, you know, why these two parties are beefing. The Israelis, and I guess I'm not too sure if they're a terrorist group called Hamas. You know, I guess they come from out of the Gaza, but I'm gonna get a little bit more educated on what's going on between these two parties. You know, it's crazy what's going on in the news as far as, you know, I'm seeing missiles blowing up buildings. I'm hearing kidnappings, you know, killing. And I just want to know what's all this about, you know. I've been reading the Bible, you know, not the actual Bible. I have a Bible that I read. It's the whole story of the Bible, so I guess it's just breaking down the Bible, not in it's breaking it down in, you know, simple form, you know, like the whole story, like, you know, it's going in order on, I guess, how until the end of how we get to Revelations. You know, it's a very easy read. And I go back and I look at the actual Bible and I see it's going in order. There's a lot of information in the Bible, different names, different, you know, but it breaks it down in smaller sections. You know, it breaks it down, like the whole Bible is probably like about 1,000 pages. This book has like about 300 pages, but I believe that, you know, it's the way how this war is going. It's like it's like kind of mimicking the Bible a little bit, you know, as far as the Israelis and, you know, different parts of the you know, of the country, of the world, of the Middle East anyway. So we're gonna get right into this this video, or, you know, we're gonna listen to what's going on. It's gonna, I guess they're breaking down, you know, what is causing the problems between the Hamas and the Israelis, you know. So we're gonna get into it. They might blick my channel for using their content, but this is for educational purposes only. If you don't want me to, you know, if you don't want to, or if you want to go see the full video, go to Prager University. It's called The Middle East Conflict. There's two parts. We're probably just going to get through one part, and then we'll probably get into the second part in another video. All right, so let's get into it, man.
A loose ring has resurfaced at SeaWorld Orlando and is taking horror to new depths with all.
When I did my graduate studies at the Middle East Institute at Columbia University's School of International Affairs, I took many courses on the question of the Middle East conflict. Semester after semester, we studied the Middle East conflict as if it was the most complex conflict in the world, when in fact, it is probably the easiest conflict in the world to explain. It may be the hardest to solve, but it is the easiest to explain. In a nutshell, it's this. One side wants the other side dead. Israel wants to exist as a Jewish state and to live in peace. Israel also recognizes the right of Palestinians to have their own state and to live in peace.
Okay.
The problem, however, is that most Palestinians and many other Muslims and Arabs do not recognize the right of the Jewish state of Israel to exist. This has been true since 1947, when the United Nations voted to divide the land called Palestine into a Jewish state and an Arab state. The Jews accepted the United Nations partition, but no Arab or any other Muslim country accepted it. When British rule ended on May 15, 1948, the armies of all the neighboring Arab states, Lebanon, Syria, Iraq, Transjordan, and Egypt, attacked the one-day-old state of Israel in order to destroy it. But to the world's surprise, the little Jewish state survived. Then it happened again. In 1967, the dictator of Egypt, Gamal Abdel Nasser, announced his plan, in his words, to destroy Israel. He placed Egyptian troops on Israel's border, and armies of surrounding Arab countries were also mobilized to attack. However, Israel preemptively attacked Egypt and Syria. Israel did not attack Jordan and begged Jordan's king not to join the war. But he did. And only because of that did Israel take control of Jordanian land, specifically the West Bank of the Jordan River. Shortly after the war, the Arab states went to Khartoum, Sudan, and announced their famous 3 no's. No recognition, no peace, and no negotiations. What?
Now, I wonder why. Why would they? Why? It's just simple like that. The Arab state doesn't want no peace, and they don't want peace.
What was Israel supposed to do? Well, one thing Israel did a little more than a decade later in 1978 was to give the entire Sinai Peninsula, an area of land bigger than Israel itself and with oil, back to Egypt, because Egypt, under new leadership, signed a peace agreement with Israel.
Okay.
So Israel gave land for the promise of peace with Egypt, and it has always been willing to do the same thing with the Palestinians.
Okay.
All the Palestinians have ever had to do is recognize Israel as a Jewish state and promise to live in peace with it. But when Israel has proposed trading land for peace, as it did in 2000, when it agreed to give the Palestinians a sovereign state in more than 95% of the West Bank and all of Gaza, the Palestinian leadership rejected the offer and instead responded by sending waves of suicide terrorists into Israel. Meanwhile, Palestinian radio, television, and school curricula remain filled with glorification of terrorists, demonization of Jews, and the daily repeated message that Israel should cease to exist.
Let me rewind that. Hold on.
Rejected the offer it did in 2000 when it agreed to give the Palestinians a sovereign state in more than 95% of the West Bank and all of Gaza. The Palestinian leadership rejected the offer and instead responded by sending waves of suicide terrorists into Israel. Meanwhile, Palestine.
Now, I want to know something. If the Jewish people are willing to give up all that land to the Palestinians, why are they not? Why are they not accepting this peace treaty? I don't get it. Is there something like deep in Israel that they want, or is it that the Palestinians just want to just take over the whole Israel and just wipe out the Jewish people? That's what it's sounding like, And Israel, to me, I think that for a small country like that to give up all that land, they're a very strong country. You know, they're very strong because they could wipe out. Because I seen on the news they done blew up the Gaza, send a whole bunch of missiles over and over and over once the Palestinians or the Hamas went and attacked them, you know. So I don't know. Let's see.
Radio, television, and school curricula remain filled with glorification of terrorists, demonization of Jews, and the daily repeated message that Israel should cease to exist. So it's not hard to explain the Middle East dispute. One side wants the other dead.
That's
The
it.
motto of Hamas, the Palestinian rulers of Gaza, is, "We love death as much as the Jews love life."
Wow.
There are 22 Arab states in the world, stretching from the Atlantic Ocean to the Indian Ocean. There is one Jewish state in the world, and it is about the size of New Jersey. In fact, tiny El Salvador is larger than Israel. Finally, think about these two questions. If tomorrow Israel laid down its arms and announced, "We will fight no more," what would happen? And if the Arab countries around Israel laid down their arms and announced, "We will fight no more," what would happen? In the first case, there would be an immediate destruction of the state of Israel and mass murder of its Jewish population.
Wow, hold on.
Israel laid
Let me
down,
hear this
and
again.
it is about the size of New Jersey.
Missed that.
In fact, tiny El Salvador is larger than Israel. Finally, think about these two questions. If tomorrow Israel laid down its arms and announced, "We will fight no more," what would happen? And if the Arab countries around Israel laid down their arms and announced, "We will fight no more," what would happen? In the first case, there would be an immediate destruction of the state of Israel and mass murder of its Jewish population. In the second case, there would be peace the next day. As I said at the outset, it is a simple problem to describe. One side wants the other dead, and if it didn't, there would be peace. Please remember this: there has never been a state in the geographic area known as Palestine that was not Jewish. Israel is the third Jewish state to exist in that area. There was never an Arab state, never a Palestinian state, never a Muslim or any other state. That's the issue. Why can't the one Jewish state the size of El Salvador be allowed to exist? That is the Middle East problem. I'm Dennis Prager.
That shit is deep, man. Shit is deep. I see one in the building, man. At least hit the like button.
If Israel just allowed the Palestinians to have a state of their own, there would be peace in the Middle East, right? That's what you hear from UN ambassadors, European diplomats, and most college professors. But what if I told you that Israel has already offered the Palestinians a state of their own? And not just once, but on 5 separate occasions. Don't believe me? Let's review the record. After the breakup of the Ottoman Empire following World War I, Britain took control of most of the Middle East, including the area that constitutes modern Israel. 17 years later, in 1936, the Arabs rebelled against the British and against their Jewish neighbors. The British formed a task force, the Peel Commission, to study the cause of the rebellion. The commission concluded that the reason for the violence was that two peoples, Jews and Arabs, wanted to govern the same land.
Okay.
The answer, the Peel Commission concluded, would be to create 2 independent states, one for the Jews and one for the Arabs, a 2-state solution. The suggested split was heavily in favor of the Arabs. The British offered them 80% of the disputed territory, the Jews the remaining 20%. Yet, despite the tiny size of their proposed state, the Jews voted to accept this offer, but the Arabs rejected it and resumed their violent rebellion. Rejection number 1. 10 years later, in 1947, the British asked the United Nations to find a new solution to the continuing tensions. Like the Peel Commission, The UN decided that the best way to resolve the conflict was to divide the land. In November 1947, the UN voted to create two states. Again, the Jews accepted the offer, and again, the Arabs rejected it. Only this time, they did so by launching an all-out war.
See, so right now, what I'm getting, man, if the Arabs just didn't want no peace. They want to take over the whole land. My question is there something in that land that they want? From the last little video or the last segment, they at the end they have oil, they have all these different things in the land. Plus they have more places to live and build and grow. Israel is just a small state. Israel just want to live in peace. Why does the Arabs not want to have peace with these guys, man? That's my question. They just the Arabs, the Palestinians just believe in death, just like that. Somebody help me out, y'all. Somebody help me.
Action number 2. Jordan, Egypt, Iraq, Lebanon, and Syria joined the conflict, but they failed. Israel won the war and got on with the business of building a new...
And when I see these states, these countries that's attacking, going into Israel, how is Israel winning? It's so small. Like, I know there have to be more people in these states if they're joining just to attack this one place. I don't know. It's a lot, man. All these big countries just going in to attack Israel, and Israel is coming with the victory. Is it that they're getting help from other countries? Like the US and the British and all other, I don't really know how many countries is in alliance with them. It's probably a lot, but 1930 something, I believe it said there, they had an alliance like that. Let me see.
Rejection number 2. Jordan, Egypt, Iraq, Lebanon, and Syria joined the conflict, but they failed. Israel won the war and got on with the business of building a new nation.
Okay.
Most of the land set aside by the UN for an Arab state, the West Bank and East Jerusalem, became occupied territory. Occupied not by Israel, but by Jordan. 20 years later, in 1967, the Arabs, led this time by Egypt and joined by Syria and Jordan, once again sought to destroy the Jewish state. The 1967 conflict, known as the Six-Day War, ended in a stunning victory for Israel. Jerusalem and the West Bank, as well as the area known as the Gaza Strip, fell into Israel's hands. The government split over what to do with this new territory. Half wanted to return the West Bank to Jordan and Gaza to Egypt in exchange for peace. The other half wanted to give it to the region's Arabs, who had begun referring to themselves...
So Israel was whooping their ass, and Israel still want peace. I'm surprised Israel just didn't destroy all of them, and just take over everything. But, I guess in their heart, they just want peace, I guess that's the right thing to do. That's where I come with the biblical, I guess that, Israel is following, the Lord and just want peace, Like in the... Like when I read the Bible, or when I'm reading that book, I see like this is like a small army, and they are destroying the bigger army, the bigger threats. All these people coming together, but this one little country is just destroying them all, winning the war. It's crazy. It's crazy.
Palestinians in the hope that they would ultimately build their own state there. Neither initiative got very far.
See, I can't really reference too much because it's too much in the Bible. It's too much that I read. It's too many names. It's, but I know I seen Jerusalem and I seen Israel, and I don't think I seen the Gaza. I don't think I seen that. That's probably something new, or I'm not too sure. But I know I definitely seen Jerusalem and Israel in the Bible. See, I'm just educating myself, man. Y'all join me. Y'all leave y'all comments in the comment section, man. If y'all hearing me, man, put me on to something. Teach me something, An ignorant mind want to learn now. You know what I'm saying? Let's go.
Later, the Arab League met in Sudan and issued its infamous 3 no's. No peace with Israel, no recognition of Israel, no negotiations with Israel. Again, a 2-state solution was dismissed by the Arabs, making this rejection number 3.
So they're rejecting all of this. Why didn't these guys just destroy these people? Why they didn't just destroy the, they don't want no peace, no recognition, no nothing. After Israel is giving them all this land. Why? They should have just said, you know what, man, it's over, man. Y'all don't want no peace or anything, man. We gonna take you out. We taking you out. That's it. Y'all don't want no peace treaty. That's it, man. Let's go, man. It's time for an all-out war, man. It's time to destroy it. We gonna take over everything. I'm surprised that didn't happen, because some people would just get tired. I know I'd get tired. Look, man, I'm offering you all this peace, man. And you still coming over here destroying my stuff, destroying my people, trying to take over. I don't know.
In 2000, Israeli Prime Minister Ehud Barak met at Camp David with Palestinian Liberation Organization Chairman Yasser Arafat to conclude a new 2-state plan. Barak offered Arafat a Palestinian state in all of Gaza and 94% of the West Bank, with East Jerusalem as its capital. But the Palestinian leader rejected the offer. In the words of US President Bill Clinton, Arafat was here 14 days and said no to everything.
Damn.
Instead, the Palestinians launched a bloody wave of suicide bombings that killed over 1,000 Israelis and maimed thousands more on buses, in wedding halls, and in pizza parlors.
Damn.
Rejection number 4. In 2008, Israel tried yet again. Prime Minister Ehud Olmert went even further than Ehud Barak had, expanding the peace offer to include additional land to sweeten the deal. Like his predecessor, the new Palestinian leader, Mahmoud Abbas, turned the deal down. Rejection number 5. In between these last 2 Israeli offers, Israel unilaterally left Gaza, giving the Palestinians complete control there. Instead of developing this territory for the good of its citizens, the Palestinians turned Gaza into a terrorist base, from which they have fired thousands of rockets into Israel. Each time Israel has agreed to a Palestinian state, the Palestinians have rejected the offer, often violently. So if you're interested in peace in the Middle East, maybe the answer is not to pressure Israel to make yet another offer of a state to the Palestinians. Maybe the answer is to pressure the Palestinians to finally accept the existence of a Jewish state.
And the way I feel, the way how to do that is, is to go all out, man. You know what I mean? To go all out under, and I'm sure other Palestinians want peace. They got to overthrow their government, They would have, I believe that some of the other Palestinians, they want peace. But, if it's that true, the terrorists don't give a damn. They just trying to They just trying to blow shit up, and I guess death is they religion, man. You know, death is their religion, yo. It's crazy, crazy.
Bragg, Executive Director of the Maccabee Task Force for Prager University.
So, are you a man who's looking to overcome the
Commercial.
addiction or anything under the umbrella of sex addiction? Anything, right? Maybe only.
To my Palestinian brothers and sisters,
Okay.
and to anyone who supports the Palestinian people, I implore you, please do not let Hamas brainwash you into thinking it has achieved anything on our behalf.
Okay.
It hasn't. Not in the Gaza wars of 2021, 2014, 2012, or 2008. Each one of these pointless conflicts has been a catastrophe, costing us dearly in lives and treasure. Hamas is not a social justice movement, and it certainly does not care about Palestinian people. It is a criminal gang that only cares about increasing its own power. Israel is not the main cause of your suffering. Hamas is the main cause.
Right. See. Okay. All right. See, that's exactly what I was just saying. Well, you know, he's talking for his other people. Hamas, he's saying, I guess, is a terrorist group that's out for their own causes. I know that there's other Palestinians out there that you know wants peace. You know, so I know I you know it's not. I guess it's not a social justice group. You know what I mean? That's you know backed by the whole government. I mean, well, you know, yeah, of the Gaza and all the other countries. I wonder if Hamas is in different places, you know, besides the Gaza, you know. Because like I said, they had them other four countries. They had the other four countries, you know, I guess in alliance with taking down Israel, in which they failed. You know, so I don't know. Let's go. Let's see what this gentleman. What's Hamas' main cause?
Israel is not your jailer. Hamas is. It was Hamas that led you into this most recent disaster. They told you that the Israelis were evicting innocent Palestinians from their homes in the Sheikh Jarrah area of East Jerusalem. It is a lie. The people living in those homes weren't tenants. They were squatters. They hadn't paid rent for decades. They told you that the Israelis plan to destroy the Al-Aqsa Mosque. This too is a lie. The mosque is still there. It will be there tomorrow. Say what you want about the Israelis. They are not stupid. They know that if they actually attempt to destroy Al-Aqsa, it would lead to war with every Muslim country. Yes, Hamas take actions and thus look strong next to its rival, the corrupt Fatah party. But the only action it takes, they know that if plan to destroy the Al-Aqsa Mosque, this too is a lie. The mosque is still there. It will be there tomorrow. Say what you want about the Israelis. They are not stupid. They know that if they actually attempt to destroy Al-Aqsa, it would lead to war with every Muslim country. Yes, Hamas take actions and thus look strong next to its rival, the corrupt Fatah party. But the
Okay, so right now with this gentleman, what I'm taking from him is that Hamas is making up lies for other Muslim countries to back them. The Palestinian people have not been paying any rent. in Jerusalem for decades. They've been squatting. And Hamas, I guess, is using that to probably get other countries involved in their shenanigans. I don't know what it has to be more than death. It has to be more than they just want people that they want that land. I believe they want that whole land of Israel. And Israel just want to keep their small little piece, but the question is, what is there?
Action it takes is to lead us into chaos. Hamas has no ability and in fact no desire to govern. The water isn't safe to drink. The power goes out for hours at a time. Thus, looks strong next to its attempt to destroy Al-Aqsa. It would lead to war with every Muslim country. Yes, Hamas take actions and thus looks strong next to its rival, the corrupt Fatah party. But the only action it takes is to lead us into chaos. Hamas has no ability and in fact no desire to govern. The water isn't safe to drink. The power goes out for hours at a time. Raw sewage washes up on your beaches. The Israelis are not responsible for these dismal failures. Hamas is, and everybody in Gaza knows it. It is Hamas that steals the imported cement meant to build houses for you and uses it instead to build a massive network of tunnels from which it hopes to terrorize Israelis. It is Hamas that makes sure humanitarian aid meant for you is diverted to its favored elites, who then sell it for a profit on the black market. And it is Hamas that uses you as a human shield, stationing rocket launchers and missile arsenals in your apartments, office buildings, schools, and even hospitals. Israel uses rockets to defend its people. Hamas uses people to defend its rockets. As for its war strategy, Hamas doesn't have one. It fires missiles at the most highly populated regions of Israel, with no...
So, like I was reading, going back into the Bible, people sacrificing their people, sacrificing men, children, women, you know. Is that their way of showing you know, blessings to their God? You know, to sacrifice the people? It's deep, man. It's deep, man.
Big target. Yet, I know from my sources in Gaza that as much as 25% of all rockets launched by Hamas in May 2021 crashed within Gaza. 50 Gaza civilians were killed by these rockets. Their deaths falsely blamed on Israel. Are you aware of the fact that some of the Hamas missiles that Israeli defense forces failed to intercept ended up exploding in places like Jaffa, Abu Ghosh, and Lut, where Arab Israelis live? Palestinians living in Israel are as likely to be killed as Israelis themselves. Hamas couldn't care less, and what was gained? Palestinians living in these 4 buildings in Sheikh Jarrah will still eventually be evicted. A fact that has been known to those families since they sold away the title to those buildings. Think about the even greater number of Palestinians who are now homeless in Gaza because Hamas choose to hide weapons in residential buildings. And when naive American and European NGOs offer millions to rebuild Gaza, who do you think will get that money? It won't be you. The people who really deserve it and need it. It will be the leaders of the Hamas gang and their friends who will add new rooms to their fancy villas.
Wow.
Rather than rebuild homes, purchase coronavirus vaccines, or provide social services for their people. And the peace you so deserve, the peace which could have been possible when Israel withdrew entirely from the Gaza Strip in 2005, will be even further out of reach. Hamas robbed you of that chance when it set up its military gang then. It's robbing you of the same chance now. No matter how many Jews it managed to kill, Hamas will never be satisfied. It will never stop lying, but you can stop believing its lies. I am Bassem Eid for Prager University.
Okay.
Guys, do your daughter a favor this year by getting her a unique gift that she'll treasure forever. It says, to my daughter, never forget.
The mission was straightforward. Rescue comets going under heavy anti-tank fire. But now the sun was up, and our cover was blown. We were totally exposed. I felt a heavy whoosh of air. Then I felt nothing. Just a ringing in my ears. I was on the ground. I could see through my thigh. Even worse, I couldn't see my foot. It was gone. When I awoke in the hospital, it took every ounce of courage I had to look down my leg. Somehow, some way, my foot was there. The doctors had managed to reattach it. We have the best surgeons. Unfortunately, they get a lot of practice at this sort of thing. That's life in Israel. That's life as an Israeli soldier. And that's what I am. I am also an Arab. Sometimes people say to me, Yusuf, how could you fight for the IDF? I say it's simple. It's not the Jewish Defense Forces. It's the Israeli Defense Forces. And I am an Israeli. Are you surprised? If so, I don't blame you. You probably get your news about Israel from, well, the media. They amplify extremists and sell conflicts because conflict sells. Conciliation doesn't. Stereotypes make for simple stories. Too simple. So let's examine some. Let's take the simplest, that there are Israelis and that there are Palestinians, and that each side defines itself against the other. Turns out the fundamental division is false. According to a poll in 2020, only 7% of Arabs living in Israel self-identify as Palestinian. By contrast, 74% consider themselves either Israeli Arab or just plain Israeli. This is typical. So much of what you've heard about Israel is the story. The story doesn't match the facts. So here are a few. In America, given their numbers, Jews are disproportionately represented in the medical professions. No surprise. But did you know this? In Israel, Arabs are disproportionately represented in the medical professions. Arabs comprise 20% of Israel's population, but 30% of its physicians and 35% of its pharmacists. You've probably heard the stereotype that Jews are bankers. This suggests that they control things behind the scenes. So you may be surprised to learn that the head of the biggest bank in Israel is an Arab.
Wow.
Worse than the stereotypes are the lies.
Wow.
The worst lie is this.
So, see, we learning today, man. I'm learning. You know, the guy who controls the money in Israel is an Arab. Never knew that. Never knew that.
Israel is an apartheid state. In an apartheid state, some can vote and some cannot. But in Israel, Arabs don't just vote. They sometimes call the shots. In 2021, as an article in El Monitor put it, for the first time in Israel's 73-year history, Arab parliament members will likely have the final say on whether a government is formed and even who will head such a government. In an apartheid state, some get an education and some don't. But in Israel, Arab enrollment in higher education is exploding, more than doubling between 2008 and 2018. And Israeli Arab Christians actually outpace Israeli Jews in higher education degrees relative to population.
What happened? Say that
You
again.
probably government is formed and even who will head such a government. In an apartheid state, Some get an education and some don't. But in Israel, Arab enrollment in higher education is exploding, more than doubling between 2008 and 2018. And Israeli Arab Christians actually outpace Israeli Jews in higher education degrees relative to population.
Wow.
You probably don't know these facts because the media prefers to demonize Israel rather than report about it fairly. That may never change. But whether or not they report it, Israel is experiencing an important generational shift. Our parents' and grandparents' generations witnessed major wars in 1948, 1967, and 1973. My generation and the generation after me haven't seen such conflicts, but we have all grown up under the shadow of terrorist violence, from suicide bombers to Hamas rocket attacks. And terrorists don't discriminate between Jews and Arabs. When you come face to face with this reality, when you have face-to-face conversations, you realize that everyone within the borders of Israel confronts the same threats. And then you can begin to understand that the real story isn't two groups, Jews and Arabs, locked in an eternal conflict, but two parts of a nation coming together in a process I call Israelization. A silent but ever-growing majority of citizens simply want to live in peace with their neighbors, the ones across the street and the ones on the other side of national borders. Like I said, extremist voices get amplified. The media likes it that way. It generates clicks, sells papers, and boosts TV ratings. Unfortunately, stories of good people living and working side by side without strife don't do any of those things. But that doesn't make those stories less true, or those people any less real. The real peace process happens one person at a time. With each passing year, I see that process expanding. It won't be smooth because nothing in this part of the world goes smoothly. But no one is going to stop it. Just like no one is going to stop me from defending my country, Israel. I'm Yusuf Haddad, founder of Together Vouch for Each Other for Prager University.
Wow. Okay.
Have you read articles? They're really hard to read, dude. I read an article the other day on North Korea, and halfway...
Okay, so they just educated me, man. They are Arabs that fight with the Israelis, you know? They are Arabs that live in Israel. Arabs, there's an Arab, I'm not too sure, but he controls the bank, controls the money out there, you know? And there are Arabs that fight, and they are armed in you know, for the army of Israel. Learning a lot. We learning today, y'all.
I am an Arab. I am a Muslim. And I love my country. In fact, I'm prepared to die for it.
And I didn't know that there's a mosque out there for the Muslims in Israel. Never knew that. So keep going.
I serve in its army. I don't have to do this. I want to do this. Because my country is a special place. Unlike another. Free, diverse, vibrant. Yet other countries not so free, not so diverse, call for my country's complete destruction. The moment my country lets its guard down, it will be destroyed. My country is Israel. I grew up and still live in a small village named after my family's Bedouin Arab tribe. Our roots in this land run deep. In 1948, when Arab armies invaded the new state of Israel, my family thought of leaving our village. Some of them did. But when the Jewish leaders heard that, they implored us to remain. This is our country. For both Arabs and Jews, they said, stay and we will work together to build it. My family stayed, my parents were born here, made their lives here, started their own family here in Israel. In 2002, I was a teenager. It was a violent time. Palestinian suicide bombers were blowing up Israeli civilians, a danger to Arabs and Jews alike. Israeli troops intervened to stop them at their source. As a result, many men were killed. I was torn. Whose side was I on? Israelis or the Palestinians? Is it possible to be an Arab and an Israeli? The question became even more difficult when I saw men from my own village wearing the uniform of the Israeli army. Only Jews are required to serve in the military. No one forced these Arab men to join. They chose it. Why? I asked them. Our home is here in Israel, they said. Our home is under attack. Our neighbors in this home are Jews. They are being attacked. We fight together. Still, I struggled. I went to high school in Nazareth. There, unlike the village where I grew up, most of the Arab students identify as Palestinian even though they are citizens of Israel. Some of the students, my friends, hated Israel. They couldn't understand me. You're a Palestinian, they said, so you must hate Israel. When I said that I didn't, that we had far more freedom and opportunity than Arabs anywhere in the Middle East, they called me a traitor. In high school, I went to study electrical engineering at Knir, a leading Israeli university. During my first semester, heavy rocket fire from Gaza forced Israel to launch a counterattack. Not long after the war began, I witnessed a group of Arab Israeli students expressing their solidarity with Hamas, the Palestinian terror organization that controls Gaza and is committed to destruction. Did these students not understand that those rockets could just as easily be aimed at them? Hamas didn't care who they killed as long as they landed inside the borders of Israel. Had my fellow Arab students forgotten that Israel had left Gaza a few years before? That there wasn't a single Israeli living there? That day, I dropped out of school to join the Israeli army, the IDF. A few months later, I was a soldier in the Israeli Air Force. After months of training, I was assigned to the search and rescue helicopter unit. Our job was to save lives. We never concerned ourselves with the identity of the people who needed our help. We rescued Syrian civilians wounded in their country's civil war, Palestinian children from Gaza requiring urgent medical care, and countless Israelis of every religious and ethnic background. A life, whether it is Muslim or Jewish, Palestinian or Israeli, is a life. On a base of 6,000 soldiers, I was the only Bedouin, but it didn't matter. The only thing that mattered was keeping Israel, our home, safe. We came from all parts of the country and from many parts of the world. We wear every shade of skin color. Our shared goal created a deep bond. Today, I am a student at Haifa University. Half of the students are Arab. More than once, I have seen the Palestinian flag being waved at rally or protest on campus. In Israel, you can do this because whether you are a Jew or an Arab, you are free.
Right.
What more do you need to know? I am Muhammad Kabia for Prager University.
I'm gonna stop it right there. You know, I've been educated today a little bit. We're gonna go more into it. I'm gonna make a part two of this. I'm about to reach my destination in a little second here. What I'm getting from this is I'm learning. You know, I never knew that there were Arabs that lived in Israel. You know, they go to school. They go to school there. Some of them even joined the army of the Israels, you know, because I guess they see that Hamas they don't care about their own people, you know. I guess they see them as traitors for living in Israel and backing them, you know. So they just go and destroy everything. Hamas, they destroy everything that's in there. They have no care in the world. Everything is looking like death. It's like they just want to wipe out the whole country for God knows what. Like I said, man, I feel that there is a little bit more to it, man. me personally, I would like to hear what you know, the person that runs the organization of Hamas. I like to hear, you know, their side as to why they're doing it, you know. For what reason? Why do they want to wipe out Israel? Why do they want to, you know, why do they want to kill, to me I feel, kill all the Jews that's there and the people who represents that country. What I learned is, you know, they you know, cement is shipped over there to help build homes and things like that, but these guys are taking the cement to build underground tunnels to get to Israel to, you know, destroy it. But I believe it's something more, man. Something is there. I'd like to hear the other side of the party. I'm only hearing just one side right now, you know. But like I said, man, we'll get back into this again, man. Probably later on after I finish doing what I'm doing. You guys like, share, subscribe, man. Leave your comments in the comment section, man. Did I miss anything? Educate me, you know. I'm not too well at explaining or expressing myself in a way that I really want to, you know. But this is a learning process, and this is an education process for me, you know. So bear with me, help me out, leave your comments, man, and like, share, subscribe, man. Follow me. I'll back real soon with part 2 of this later on.